Matt with Rolling Wrench. Do you own one of these? Taotao? If you do, chances are, there's like a 99% chance you're going to need a new carburetor, or you'll need to clean the carburetor. The reason why you would ever need a new carburetor, let me show you. So on the Taotao model 49cc scooters, you'll see this. So say I want to clean the carburetor and I want to get this float bowl off. Well, the screws are broken off. They're basically forcing you to buy a new carburetor, which isn't a bad idea because I'm leaking here. See this air fuels adjustment screw? This is actually a fuel screw. It's capped off. You can't adjust the fuel screw. But a lot of times people want to just drill out their old ones. And I'm going to show you the easiest way that I found to do that. Drill bit set. I start with the 3/32 here. So it's very important, here I got the 3/32 drill bit in there, to get it centered. Spend the time getting it centered. If you don't get it centered, everything goes to crap. So I'm going to get this started. I'll show you what happens here. It's started very slightly. So once you've got it, see if you've got this little tang here, you're going to have to grind that down. See how it's like raised up? Yeah, you just have to grind those down. But start with that 3/32 drill bit. It doesn't even really have to be that. It could just be any drill bit to get the pilot hole started. That's what we're going to do first. All right, so to grind this, you remember we had that raised up area just like this one? So what I do is I keep my drill bit down here and turn it on, and then I feed my carburetor in instead of doing it the opposite way. And I just kind of, hit my the end of my screw so I flatten it out. It's okay if you just get a little bit of the float bowl, just don't go too deep. We're just trying to get that burr off. So I'm just doing just like this. Holding the drill, feeding the carburetor in. See, I've got that perfectly grounded down, so I just need to start the pilot hole just like I did this one. So now that I've got these 3 holes started, by the way, I'm only going down like 2 millimeters or something like that, not far at all. Basically the length of the float bowl there. So now I'm going to move it on up to an 1/8 inch socket or drill bit, and then we'll drill that out, same thing. Let me see if I can show you what happens here. So if I screw, I've already got one loose. So if I screw this guy, let me go larger there. See how that just came off, or hit the head of it, right on the drill bit. And also what ended up happening is this screw started going all the way out. So you can simply unscrew that here in a minute. Let me get this other side taken care of here. Okay, so there we go. Check this out. That's off. There you go. And these, you can just unscrew really easily. You notice here, this screw, you can just unscrew it. It takes just a minute, but you can unscrew it. Eventually you'll be able to do it by hand when it comes out far enough. That's how you get the screws out. Of course, you're going to need to upgrade to a new screw. And then you have these screws that might go the other way while you're drilling it, and you can unscrew those the opposite way. You just do those by hand. So here's what it looks like when you're done. So it's basically a screw with a broken head. Let's do that all the way around. Screws, and you're going to want to get some good replacement screws. These are perfect. The 3 of them, of course. Now, if you want to clean the carburetor, now I'll show you how to clean the carburetor. That was like the 101 on how to remove the float bowls. So here is the carburetor. By the way, if you want to help support the channel and get some rewards at the same time, hit the link below. It's our Patreon account. If you're having idle problems, it won't stay running, this right here is the pilot jet. That controls 1,000 RPM and below. This guy right here is the main jet. That controls 3,000 RPM and above. The other thing to check is your diaphragm here. When you push that diaphragm down like that, it should come back nice and slow, just like that, if it's operating correctly. If you push this like that and then it just sticks, then you got problems. Take it apart, clean it. I'm not going to get into that, but that's what you need to do. Pull these jets out. So basically what I'm going to do is just take a screwdriver and loosen both of these. Okay, so here is our main jet. This controls 1,000 RPM and below. You notice you can see light through it. That one's clean. I'll clean it out anyway. And then this one is our pilot jet. That's a really tiny hole. There is no light through it. So what I normally would do is you can get one of these K&L jet cleaning kits. It's not really a kit, it's more of a tool. And there's this tiny little copper guy, and you just slide that through. Just slide that sucker through and clean it. If you don't have one of those, you can use like a wire. These little strands, you can pull one of those strands out of the wire. This is just a piece of wire that I cut off, and use that to clean it. But this is a lot more solid. It's a better option to use that, but this is what you can use. Some people use guitar strings as well. So this is our main concern here, is cleaning that. I'm not gonna clean this on film, and obviously just clean this off. The other thing you wanna see is you wanna see that the needle and seat, see up underneath there, is moving up and down. It's not stuck. Let me see if I can do a better angle on that. Right through there. See that needle back there? Right back in here? See how that's moving in and out? That's good. That's what we want. If not, you're going to have to remove the screw and pull that needle and seat out and clean it really well. So that's basically the main functions inside the carburetor, is just cleaning all these ports. You want to get some carburetor and choke cleaner with, of course, the hose installed on the end. And what you'll do is you just spray down in there. You're going to clean these ports out. You do the same thing for all of these ports. You take this needle and seat apart. Basically, this hose goes through there and then opens. This works like a toilet bowl. This is your float. You don't want to adjust this tab at all unless you absolutely need to. 99.9% of the time, you will not adjust anything inside of here. So, and the other thing is I should mention is if you're doing like a pod style air filter, like you know, like a performance one. See, that's a 78 jet. You would make this larger. And I couldn't tell you which one because it just all bases on airflow. But when somebody says you need to rejet your carburetor for a new pipe or a pod filter, this is what they're referring to. You need to enlarge this. So that's a 78, and maybe you go to an 80. It's all trial and error. And then normally you keep this the same because this just controls the idle. But if you're getting back popping, you know, like when you let off the gas, you'll go larger on this guy. So a lean condition would be if this jet is not big enough, and a rich condition would be if this jet is too large, or this jet, but that's what that refers to, lean and rich. Lean, not enough fuel; rich, too much fuel. Little hack you can do is take a torch. So my problem here is I can't get this to slide through the jet because it's completely clogged. So I'm going to use this torch to burn it out, but you have to be very careful not to melt the copper since it's really easy to do. Alright, so I'm just going to burn it out. You'll see flames come out. See that? It's almost staying lit. I don't want to do it too much, so I'm going to cool it down with some carb clean. By the way, you've heard this thing running the whole time. I know I probably get some comments on that. I'm running it so the battery will charge. The battery was on the fritz, so. Here is that hole. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. So you can see light through. It's very small, very, very small. So let me clean the rest of it, put it back together. Right, so now it's just a matter of putting these screws in and tightening them down. Now you have a carburetor that's you can service. Again, the downfall on these carburetors is there's no air fuel adjustment. But if it ran fine before, you probably don't need it. But if you're doing any type of upgrades or modifications, I would recommend getting a carburetor with that adjustment. Done, ready to be installed.